Hey everybody, welcome back. Animation Hangout episode 6. Thank you, William. We took a summer hiatus. Unplanned, but still there it was. So, my name is Arsenette, and I'm here with my husband Don and my friend William, and generally each month, although that's been kind of weird of late, we talk about animation, anime, cartoons, and everything in the like in between. So, gonna start off with William. What have you been doing in the past, I guess, 4 months? 3 months? I don't even know at this point.
Well, animation-wise, let's see. Oh, wow, I didn't mean to do that. Not a lot to talk about, to be perfectly honest.
That's fine. We just finished recording a video game hangout, so that was pretty busy.
Yeah, there's a reason I loaded that one and not so much this one. Yeah. But I can talk a little bit about some of the cons that I went to between then and now. I went to Anime Next. I got to meet Johnny Young Bosch. So,
cool.
Finally, that was cool.
That's the one in Atlantic City.
That is the one in Atlantic City, yes.
June?
Saw live
July.
pro wrestling where cartoon and video game characters wrestled each other. And in fashions where there's no psychology and realism is thrown out the door.
But isn't that what wrestling usually is anyway?
Yeah, well, this is when Sub-Zero is freezing Krillin with his ice shots in the wrestling ring. There is no realism anymore. While also fighting Blake from Ruby in a triple threat match, I may add. That is a thing that happened. But yeah, that was fun. I did the cherry auction and I got myself
a bunch of stuff as usual.
Okay. Anime Next, I actually went pretty light on, but the big thing was I got a few items from the charity auction because it's for charity. That's always nice. But one thing that I got was pretty cool is I got an original cell for El Hazard, the light novel cover. It is currently on my wall, and it looks very nice. And,
have you ever seen the series?
I own it. And
which one?
It's the TV series, not the OVA. I know, but
so you got Wanderers, and I like
yes.
Magnificent World. Okay.
Well, I will look. Wanderers cost me $3. So
yes, that's right. There's a reason it costs $3. And
Magnificent
World is a couple hundred.
No. It's I mean, it costs $3 because I got it at a garage sale. But yes.
Yeah.
But no, it's I like it. Anime Next was fun. There was some good panels. God, it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember everything that I did because I went to like a lot of panels, but I just can't remember.
Would you be able to compare it? Whether the same fun, better, worse than the previous year? Because this is the third year now in Atlantic City.
Yes. It was it was good fun. It was good fun. I'm gonna say about the same. Which, yeah, it's good.
That's good, though. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's good. I went to Otakon also.
That was August.
That was August, yes. Over in Washington, D.C. I still had my subway card from last year, so I didn't have to buy a new one.
That's nice.
Yeah. Actually ran into Bernardo while there from
cool.
American Ninja Warrior, for those of you who are out of the loop.
Mike Bernardo.
Yes, Mike Bernardo, to be more specific. It was a bit weird because it was technically smaller in terms of physical size because they didn't use the Sheraton at all that's connected to the convention center. So that was a bit weird. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. There was also, like, I guess, in terms of giving them a bit of criticism, there was a few panels that got canceled because of a mistake on Otakon's part. Like,
yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Bryce Papenbrook panel that got canceled because they didn't tell him that it was happening. And there was a Dragon Ball panel that was supposed to happen, but again, there was like they didn't properly communicate, and it was weird. It was a whole mess with that. There was actually another panel that got canceled on me, but like it wasn't their fault. It was a fan panel where the person just didn't show up. So, whoops. I guess he's not getting accepted again.
That's at least a little bit different, rather than you didn't tell the guest that was supposed to run the panel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that.
They're vastly different things, because that kind of crap happens all the time. Where either they didn't show up or they got stuck in traffic or whatever, and then you just get random things. But when you don't tell the person that's supposed to be running the panel, that's a whole different ball of wax.
One thing from Anime Next that I did that I forgot to mention was I won one of those name that anime song contests. They did cool. So like they did it's one of those like come on stage as a contestant for this round sort of things. So like my qualifier question was the opening for Magic Knight Rayearth, which apparently I was the only one in the audience who knew it, so that benefited me. Yeah. And the 3 categories for that round was cartoon openings, which is non-Japanese openings. That helped me a lot. Anime openings, but the song starts in the bridge portion of the song. So right in the middle. And jazz covers of Japanese openings. And you have to identify the song. Yeah. Some of those, I ended up winning that round, and I ended up getting a DVD of a show called Soul Taker. This is one of those old, back when they were split into multiple part DVD releases. But whatever, I picked it because it's shiny, so I don't know what it is. I haven't opened it yet, but that's what I have. It's very shiny.
I haven't seen that series in years.
The whole package is holographic, so that's why I picked it. Anyway, going back to Otakon, I went to a Q&A with Nomoo Uematsu. I realized I probably should have mentioned that in the video game panel, but video game podcast, but whatever. That was cool. I didn't go to any of the Final Fantasy concerts because A, I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy, and B, those lines are long.
That was the highly coveted, which it turned out to be interesting considering that he is now semi-retired hiatus.
Yeah, he's unfortunately under the weather. There was a lot of cool stuff. Otakon was fun. I had a good time.
Was that the one that had the sumo?
I mean, one time it did, yeah.
Okay.
And I got to see that, so that was cool. Cool. They didn't have it this year.
Okay.
At the dealer's room, I bought anime. There's a lot of anime. I got it right here. Hold on, let me get it.
Yeah, I usually wait until you tweet your photos, and I'm like, okay, no, that's just one page. Nope, keep going. There it is. It's closer to what you usually do.
So here's the thing. It's weird because like with Anime Next, I'm very reserved, and like I don't really buy a lot from Anime Next. At Otakon, I don't know what it is, but I just go kind of nuts. And I'm gonna be completely honest. You're a bad influence. So let's see. This is the stack that I got. I'm showing them on camera. It's big. It's big. Let's see. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 this time around.
You actually got stuff that I don't have yet.
So let's see. So just gonna randomly go through stuff. Cardcaptor Sakura Movie 2. So hooray! I finally have all the Cardcaptor Sakura stuff. Thank you, Discotech, for finishing that up. It's on Blu-ray. I'm happy about that. Obviously, when Clear Card comes out on Blu-ray from Funimation, I'll get that eventually. Cool. Randomly bought this series called Knights of Rimune. It's one of those like I don't know what this is, but it's kind of cheap, so I'll pick it up. Whatever.
Looks like Slayers.
It is from the same people who made Slayers.
Yeah,
so
it looks just like Slayers, yeah.
That's why it looks like Slayers. Got Speed Racer on Blu-ray. This is the dub-only version because the Japanese version, Funimation only released on that ugly special edition version that is a ridiculous amount of money that I am not going to get. So, but I got this version. I got Space Patrol Loco because I really like the show and I want to listen to the dub. And it's good. It's good stuff. So originally I had only gotten the Hot Spring DVD Blu-ray release of is it wrong to pick up is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? And I look, I'm not afraid to admit it. I just wanted it because it was a Hot Springs thing, and I'm like, screw it. I want it. I don't know anything about the series. I'll look at it and see what happens. And then on Twitter, you were all like, "Oh, you got to get the original series also." So I did. Yay! It's right here. Yeah.
Again, I haven't bought it. I have to though.
It's all your fault.
Yes, it's a good series. Look forward to it.
I got Urtsure Yatsura, Beautiful Dreamer on Blu-ray. This is the second movie and is, as of right now, the only Urtsure Yatsura thing that is available on home release.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've heard...
Yeah, they're pretty rare.
They're pretty expensive, also, more importantly.
That's been licensing hell for a long time.
Hopefully Discotek will license it. I mean, and actually, they might already have it licensed, because I went to Discotek's panel. Discotek does amazing panels, especially at Otakon. They had a crap ton of announcements as well as some behind the scenes stuff. And one of the crazy things is like, I think they announced like 13 new titles at Otakon, and there was a tweet afterwards that was like, that wasn't even a third of what we have. Yeah. When we haven't announced, so like I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so like one of the big ones was that they have Kimari Orange Road, which is good because that one's rather expensive at the moment. They picked up Bobo, which is good because the S'mores Entertainment release version is trash because it doesn't have any subtitles for the Japanese language version of the show, Lord. Which is ridiculous.
How we were even having that conversation in 2018, I have no idea.
Don't get me started. Yeah. They also, during the panel, they explained how difficult it is for them to bring Cyborg 009, the 2000s series, to home release. Basically, they explained, we had to go through 1,000 VHS tapes because every single version, whether it's stereo or surround sound, is on a separate tape. And some of those tapes are damaged. So we had to recreate some of the music to for our home release. But they are
the early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s. They had a lot of problems with storage. They just didn't take care of it. Things that were on TV, they just had the terrible things. So all of a sudden later they realized they can monetize that. They're like, oh crap, we don't have the originals.
Yeah. But Discotek is doing everything they can to basically restore and remaster Cyborg 009. So good on them. They do excellent releases. Speaking of Discotek, I got Lupin the Third Part 2 Collection 1. They're going to be releasing Lupin in 4 parts because Part 2 is really long. Yep. This includes the dub. They will include the dub all the way up to the point where they were no longer dubbed. So that's good. Also from Discotek, Cinderella Boy, which you might be looking at this and say, hey, this kind of looks like Lupin the Third. Well, that's because it's a Monkey Punch project also. So it's the same guy, same creator. Cool. So that explains that. Also from Discotek, Lupin the Third Part 4 on Blu-ray. So yeah, Lupin. Also, I was at the Sentai booth, and I don't know, because I felt like it, I decided to get Flip Flappers, because I heard good things about it. So I don't know anything about it. I bought part 1 of, season 1, rather, of Snow White with the Red Hair, because I heard good things about it, so I'm like, yeah, sure, I got it. Get that. And again, because you are a bad influence, I got ReZero.
Interesting story about that. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay.
I said I watched nothing these past few months. So
okay. Yeah. They botched that release.
Yeah, I heard something about the video encoding not being right.
From what I understand, they were just given bad transfer. They did not get the Japanese transfer. So they've pulled the second one. In fact, the second one I was supposed to have come out in September, and they pulled it, and we have no idea when the date's going to come back, and no idea if they're going to replace these said copies that we paid money for. I have that there still, also sealed. I haven't even opened it because I knew it was already botched from the beginning.
No, I opened it.
Oh, no, I'm going to open it and see it and whatever. Okay. I think it's a fantastic series. What's interesting is that if you watch that,
Right.
It has an interesting cliffhanger,
Right. So
which I think is amazing.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I bought this, I didn't realize that this was part 1
Yeah.
of 2 because
You thought it was
it's
going to be
not-
the whole thing?
Yeah, because it's not very well defined on the actual box.
No, it's not.
And so it wasn't until after you told me on Twitter that it was part 1 that I realized it was part 1. If I had known that, I might not have bought it, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it was also full price at that point, so there was no way that you would have saved any money on it.
Yeah, so that is... I'm pretty sure it's everything from Otakon because I am... well, that's not truly everything, but anime related. That's everything from Otakon because I have bad habits at Otakon. And man, getting everything in my suitcase so I can take it on the train was a pain in the butt. I'll tell you what.
Look, I'm happy you do a lot of physical media buying because that helps in general. Because with so many people wanting to stay on streaming, and then all of a sudden, we'll discuss later what's going to be important about streaming shortly.
You know what's great about buying physical? I don't have to worry about licenses being expired for whatever reason.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Everything from the streaming service going away to license all of a sudden, like, hey, you have a week to watch this, or sometimes, 24 hours, because that happens in Crunchyroll all the time. And
hey, you know that first episode of Mr. Osomatsu? Yeah, we legally can't show it to you anymore.
Yep. And the worst part is that you can't even get it on the physical copy, correct?
No, you can't even import it because it got pulled before the Japanese Blu-ray even came out. So there's there is literally no legal official version of Mr.
That's
Osomatsu
a shame because that was
Episode
an amazing episode.
Yeah, it was really good.
Dang, man.
So in terms of watching animation, literally the only thing I can talk about is while at Otakon, I went to a panel that was about a show called High Score Girl. They had the director there. It technically aired in Japan, but it's going to be airing on Netflix here in December. So
interesting.
I imagine it's going to be a dub because that's what Netflix does. They hold off on shows until it gets dubbed, and then they put it all up. So, but they showed the first 2 episodes. They gave us posters, and they had a little Q&A with the director.
I know nothing about the series.
So High Score Girl is about playing video games in the 90s.
Okay.
High Score Girl, yes. It is a bit of a play on words because they are high schoolers, but it's about this boy and like there's this girl who this rich girl who I don't remember the names, I'm sorry. Who's like really good, but like she plays video games in secret because her rich family wants to do all the prim and proper things and stuff like that. It's an ugly show. And I mean that in a way that's like it's complimentary to what the show is because it's a comedy.
Okay.
It's ugly 3D animated show, but it gets away with it because it's so damn funny. It's really funny. It's a lot of over exaggerated reactions, but it's a lot of stuff based around the culture and that happened around video games at the time. Like Street Fighter 2 is a big one. Like like they actually talk about cheap tactics when it comes to Street Fighter 2 and stuff, and like, and they're playing. There's a lot of they license the rights to show a lot of video game footage from different games in this show from that time. So there's a lot of arcade games being played. They go to this one arcade that has Street Fighter 1 in it, which, for those you don't know, has like really like big buttons on the...
that version.
Yeah, they had that version. And when I saw that version, I was like, I started laughing because of like, oh yeah, I know what that is. There's just a lot of funny gags to it, and I appreciate it. So I'll watch it when it comes on to Netflix in December.
Cool.
Yeah. And the only other thing worth mentioning is that I went to New York Comic Con also, which was honestly not as good as some of yours. That's the kind of the thing with New York Comic Con is that sometimes...
Has it been slipping the last couple of years?
Well, I didn't go last year because I was in Italy.
Okay.
But I've
been hearing some interesting things the last couple of years.
It has been up and down for me personally.
Yeah.
So some years have been better than others. This year was weird because like everything that I wanted to go to panel-wise was loaded in Friday, and only Friday. So
that sucks.
I know it. Yeah, it's so the stuff I did go to on Friday was cool. Like in terms of what's relative to this conversation, I went to a panel for Batman the Animated Series, the original one from the '90s, because they got the Blu-ray coming out at the end of the month. And they had a bunch of the voice actors and the show's creators, producers there. It was really cool. A lot of cool stories. Did some Q&A. Kevin Conroy told a great story at the end about how he got recognized by a hobo at 5:30 in the morning at a post office back when they were filming season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he knew that they probably had a hit on their hands. When you're getting recognized like that. It was a good time. I went to the Ninja Turtles panel talking about the new Ninja Turtles series, which I haven't watched yet, but it just recently started. So I'll have to check that out at some point. The cast seems cool. They seem like nice people. It's funny because Rob Paulson is the animation director for this time around, and he was Donatello in the last series and Raphael in the 80s series. And he played Pinky in Pinky and the Brain, and the voice of the Brain is in the show also, and the two of them play grunts, except they reversed roles. So Rob, who was Pinky, is now the smart one, and the one who played Brain is the dumb one. It's a fun thing that they just did for fun. But yeah, that's cool. It was nice, and that's it.
That's fine. Like I said, most of our discussion was during the video game thing, so that makes sense.
Yep.
Our side, actually, Don, go ahead and pick up on yours because a lot of it is you've watched more stuff than I have during the summer.
Right. So Overlord 3 finished.
Yay.
Season 3 finished, and it's finally gotten to material that I haven't read in the light novels. Currently trying to catch up with that, but so far it's been pretty spot on with the light novels. So for those of you like myself that enjoy that type of fidelity, I think you're going to be very pleased. It's a great show.
Love the opening song.
Yeah. So they flip-flop this time. OXT is now doing the closing, and Myth and Royd are doing the opening.
Yeah.
And the opening to this is called Veracity, which has some really funky elements. Something I didn't originally realize about this, there's a commonality between these two groups in that they share a guitarist in Tom Hack. And I could never quite figure out what it was about them each that sounded so familiar. I'm like, oh, he's in both groups. And he's writing a lot of the music. Now I get it. But Veracity is a really interesting song.
Love the song.
Yeah, again, that being a former musician, it just, even though I don't technically go in for a lot of electronic type music, this was pretty cool. And Myth and Royd does some really interesting things with the technology they have. This show, at this point in time, is going to start making a lot of people uncomfortable.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Because if you haven't gotten the hint yet, Momonga or Einzulgaon, whichever way you want to say it,
the main character,
is what in tabletop gaming parlance is called the BBEG, the Big Bad Evil Guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is an end boss for an RPG, essentially. So part of what's going on is Satoru, I think is his Japanese name, is slowly losing his humanity because he has been put into an undead body. And there is some mechanism that is just basically stripping away his human emotions. They still show up from time to time.
Yeah, in fact, it was rare on the last couple episodes that we actually hear the other guy's voice.
What's starting to happen is you're hearing Satoru's voice less and less. You do still hear it sometimes in his internal monologue.
More like, I should be disturbed by what's about to happen, but I don't.
where before he was disturbed, like one of the lines is, I'm about to kill thousands of people, and it just doesn't even faze me.
No.
He's just like, I just don't care. And he's starting to care less and less about the fact that that part of him is going away. Which in some ways I find to be a little bit of a commentary on the salaryman culture in Japan.
Yeah.
That he's just become so... I mean, this is said a bit in the future, but he said, basically he had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He had no family, no love interest. It was just work and home. And that's all he ever did. And it's almost as if he... when the game was shutting down and all his friends left slowly, which anybody that plays MMOs understands that you're going to move in and out of circles of friends if you play an MMO for a long period of time, because people move on. Mm-hmm. And life is life, and sometimes you get blessed, like we have been, where we have friends that we met in-game, have never ever met in real life.
Yep.
But have kept up with them for 16, 17, 18 years. I mean, I have real life, quote-unquote, friends that I haven't seen or spoken to in over 20.
Yeah.
And I speak to these people more often. That's just life. That's the way things go. Mm-hmm. So, I don't want to spoil some of this, because there was a surprise for me that I did not expect.
No, I haven't read any of this stuff.
Well, again, because I haven't read this section, so everything that I'm seeing in the anime is new. Or the resolution of something that had been set up in previous novels. But there was a spell that he used that I'm not going to get into, other than the fact that when I heard the first line of it, I was like, oh, they're going there. Mm-hmm. And then when the spell resolved, and I went, and they nailed it. Now that's impressive. And terrifying.
Well, you were also using D&D type knowledge in terms of...
Right, but this wasn't D&D.
Okay.
I'm not... if I say any more about it, it will spoil it for those that care about being spoiled, so I'm not going to do that. But...
All I know, one episode I had difficulty watching, and there was a point where you've read part of it, and you're like, Elsie, don't watch.
Oh, that was with the workers.
Yeah.
So, in this world, there are two classes of adventurer. There are the adventurers that are gilded adventurers. And it functions like it functions like an adventuring guild in any game you've dealt with. There's some type of governance that doles out quests and pays bills. Then you have workers, which are people that were adventurers and maybe left the guild, or never were adventurers. They're basically freelancers, and they're not bound by the same rules that the gilded adventurers are. Mm-hmm. And essentially, Ainz sets up, through some pretty devious political machinations, to have the neighboring kingdom to the Riestes kingdom, which is called the Baharuth Empire, sets up to have them hire a bunch of workers through a patsy noble to send them into Nazarick so they could test this world's characters, or people, against Nazarick's defenses. And if you've been watching the show, you can pretty much guess how that went.
Yeah,
but there was a couple sections where I had to tell Elsie,
don't.
You need to not watch this.
No.
Because
hearing it was just as bad.
There are things that it wasn't particularly graphic.
No.
But it was something that for her is a huge no-no.
Nope.
So that was just turn your head, I'll tell you when it's over, because you're going to have nightmares if you watch this.
Yep.
So the show has always been dark fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It's had a good amount of comedy in it, especially the interplay between the Guardians of Nazarick and Ainz Ooal Gown.
Yeah.
But what you begin to see at this point, and you've seen hints of this with Demiurge up to this point, because Demiurge is a demon.
Yeah. Well, all of them are non-humans.
Right, they're all non-human, except for one. But their alignments are consistent with their races. Again, getting into tabletop terminology. So Demiurge would be what you would call chaotic evil, with the emphasis on evil.
Yep.
And you didn't see too much of that. It's been hinted at.
Oh no, but not now.
But now, oh no. No, you're seeing it as it is. The same thing, Aura and Mare are, dark elf twins. They are neutral. Mm-hmm. Which we used to call that neutral greedy, but they they really don't give a crap about humans.
Nope.
They don't care. It doesn't matter. Basically, if Ainz wants it done, they're doing it.
And they're all
they don't
loyal
care.
to him. So
Yeah,
whatever
they don't.
he says.
Yeah, all of the Guardians are loyal to Ainz. Which I'm waiting to see what happens specifically with Sebastian, because he is good aligned.
Yeah. Sebas.
And right, Sebas and Yuri Alpha are both basically good or neutral good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with that, because Sebas and Demiurge are diametrically opposed to each other.
Yep.
And Sebas, from what's been described in combat, is no joke.
Yeah.
He is seriously bad news for whoever's on the other end of him.
That was basically all of season 2.
Yeah,
Sebas'
season
story.
2 hinted at just how powerful he really is.
Yeah.
But you never... it's only hints. You never really see him just go all out. Which, I don't know, maybe we'll get to see that at some point. But...
I'm just happy Madhouse is doing a season 2
Yeah,
and
and
3.
the animation has not taken a hit at all. I mean,
No,
the
in fact, it
quality's
looks
been
better.
very consistent. But, yeah, this story is now getting very dark.
Yeah.
And they're
Question.
not pulling... Yeah, go ahead.
So, do you see a scenario in a possible season 4 where people will start complaining about it like they have been complaining about Goblin Slayer?
No, because this series is not as... And I'll get to Goblin Slayer later. This series is not that kind of graphic.
Oh, crap. I didn't even realize you put that on the list.
Yeah, I haven't finished episode 2, but I'll
Let's
get
just
to
say
Goblin
I'm not
Slayer.
watching that.
Oh,
So-
no, God, no.
But I
no.
can watch Overlord.
Yeah,
So
it is
it's
not that
yeah.
kind of graphic. I mean, there's some moments of brutality,
Yeah.
but they don't glorify it.
It's not a
It's more of
gore
a,
story.
okay, this happened, and there is a tremendous power gap.
I didn't
between
see
these two
gory at
people.
all.
What, Elsie?
Like in Overlord, it's not gory because
That's
I
what
can't.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
They hint at what happened without getting super, super violent about it. That being said, it's violent. Don't kid yourself. If you're squeamish at violence, don't watch it. So yeah, anyway, the show's ticking along nicely. Really looking forward to season 4. If they just keep doing what they're doing.
They did mention it though.
Right. I said I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Not I'm hoping for it.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. Very happy with the way the series has gone. But like I said, these people that we're dealing with are effectively evil and have absolutely no regard for human life. So, if you can't handle that kind of thing, then this is not a show for you.
Yep.
Moving on, finished Made in Abyss, finally.
Yay.
Did you see it?
No.
Okay.
I haven't watched anything.
Okay,
I
so-
wasn't sure.
Made in Abyss is on Amazon Prime streaming. If you're not familiar with Amazon Prime, you need to turn on closed caption if you plan on understanding the show.
I'm told it's
Unless
on
you
High
speak-
Dive now.
It is.
It may be, I don't know, but
I can
if it's-
confirm it's on High Dive.
Okay.
if you're
As
watching
someone
on Prime, it
Who
does
is
not
subscribed
auto.
to you.
Cool.
It doesn't auto translate,
Okay.
and it's
Oh.
only in Japanese audio.
That's weird.
So you will have to turn, and that's the thing with Prime. Prime just does not do that. So you have to manually turn on subtitles.
Huh.
Shows a really cutesy art style, very pretty art style. It is a very dark show. Don't be fooled.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots. I'm kind of not. There's been certain screenshots that kind of don't encourage me to watch the show, to be honest.
Now that doesn't mean that it's particularly graphic.
It's
But it-
more.
It deals with some
It's the
pretty
kids'
brutal.
part.
It
It's the
deals
kids'
with
part.
some brutal topics.
I'm gonna be honest. It's the kids' part. Yeah.
Right. So I thought it was well written and a very good show, but it can be rough to watch.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not-
nightmare
Keep
fuel
that
for
in
me.
mind.
I'm not. I'm unfortunately. I'm just not gonna rush to watch that show anytime soon.
No, I mean I would recommend it, but at the same time, they deal with the situations in the, like they don't shy away from showing consequences of actions, whereas a lot of shows might kind of gloss over it. if you do something stupid and you end up getting horribly injured, and oh, haha, everything's fine. No, there's none of that in here. There are severe consequences for mistakes in the Abyss. And the last couple of episodes were pretty hard to watch because of things that get revealed that I don't want to spoil, because this is setting up for the next set of seasons.
Cool.
After that, went through all of Violet Evergarden.
Netflix.
Absolutely beautifully animated show. It's so long since I've seen something done this well that I think it actually harkens back to the days of hand-drawn.
Yeah. It's like I said, they had a film budget.
Yeah, they just did a fantastic job with the show. The English dub, I think Arcada explained it very well. He said it's not better or worse, it's just different. And I would agree with that. I think both the English and Japanese performances were excellent. This is a show that if you have human emotion, you will need to sit with several boxes of Kleenex. Because it is not so much a tearjerker, but it's a very emotional journey. Don't, at least for guys, don't watch the show with people that might think you're a wimp. Because it's a great show. It really is. And it's Violet's journey from being a soldier and basically an emotionless child that was turned into a weapon on the battlefield, and her journey into becoming a young woman. And it's just an amazing show, and I highly, highly recommend seeing it for people that enjoy that type of content.
Neat.
And
It's a neat.
Yeah. So, final thing, I started Goblin Slayer. So Goblin Slayer not only pulls punches, but it comes around for finishing move. Or not only doesn't pull punches, but it comes around for a finishing move at the end.
Is it gore porn?
To some degree, I'd have to say yeah.
Okay.
It's I get what they're going for, and this is a style choice, and this is when we talk about dark fantasy. I am not talking about some emo kid with too much makeup. I am talking about this is a brutal world where mistakes are punished with death if you're lucky. They establish that these goblins are evil little gits in such a way that you have no doubt in your mind why this guy is killing them.
Okay.
Now, my mindset is I agree more with Hitchcock when it comes to horror and suspense, that hinting at something makes it much more terrifying than showing it graphically. This goes the other direction. more like a Rob Zombie picture. So they they're very, very graphic in their depictions. For people that don't want to see this, and I certainly don't blame you, there is a rape scene in the first episode of a goblin. The goblins were kidnapping young women.
Really? There's a rape scene?
Not like super graphic.
I've heard literally no one talk about this online. There hasn't been a single AniTuber who has made a video on this particular subject at all at any point.
Exactly.
Okay, can I just be completely honest for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't seen Goblin Slayer. I doubt I ever will see Goblin Slayer, but I just love the discourse that's been going on as someone who who kind of likes seeing all this like bickering and back and forth that's going on, and some of the amazingly awful takes that people have on the show.
Yeah.
Like saying that the goblins are an allegory for Jewish people is like you have dude.
I don't even want to see that.
Oh my god. It is like some of the people are trying so hard to vilify the show to the point where they accidentally come out like they're the ones who look bad.
Well, that's like, because that's what it is.
but they're like, oh, it's like Holocaust supporting because the job was supposed to represent Jewish people. It's like, do you realize what you're saying? This is
Wow.
insane.
The sad part is, yes, they do realize what they're saying. They're just idiots.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm sorry. It's just it's so. I get caught up in like some of the stupidest stuff that happens on the internet, but everything that's been going on with Goblin Slayer, I love, and I will probably love more than I actually would if I actually watched the show.
Right.
It is amazing what happens when you introduce a little bit of controversy into the field.
Yeah, it's like I said, my whole take on this is I don't prefer that kind of graphic portrayal. I understand what they're getting at. Like, I understand the thrust, no pun intended, of this portrayal. You know, they are establishing that these are evil little bastards and need to be wiped out.
Right.
That is so wrong for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's just, okay, guys, mission accomplished. You nailed it. I understand what you're getting at. Could you maybe... It reminds me, in some ways, of watching Team America, where the jokes go on 10 seconds
Little
too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, guys, we got it. You don't need to keep showing this.
Oh, I have a question.
Mm.
So, obviously, they're completely different shows, and I have not seen either of them. Do you remember when you were trying to get... you told me not to watch something because I'm not into it. Would it be similar to... Like, are there any saving grace of this series like it was for something like Claymore that was violent?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Because they're just getting the characters established and the world established.
Okay.
So I'm going to watch this a bit longer. And I still have to finish episode 2, obviously. I'm about halfway through that. So maybe the next time we do a podcast, I'll have a more coherent and encompassing opinion.
Yeah.
But initially, like I said, for the squeamish, or for those that just do not like graphic portrayals, don't.
Right. Now I know why you wanted to watch Cells at Work so much. Although Cells at Work's finished before Goblin Slayer started, so...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I mean, Cells at Work had some graphic stuff in it, but this is on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that now?
Actually, the final comment, I would say that Goblin Slayer has some similarities to Claymore as far as graphic portrayals go. Claymore was a great show.
See, that's what I was trying to figure out. If it was something, like, for example, I'm very squeamish. I can't watch that. There's a family friend of ours that also has the same problem. But she forced herself to watch Claymore because it was so compelling story-wise that she was able, through tissues and stuff, blocking half the time when they were fighting, but she had to see the rest of the series. So I'm curious if the reason why people were so passionate about it is that supposedly the story is supposed to be that engrossing. I was curious if it was like that, or it was because I believe it was a Crunchyroll aired it did not put that this was an M-rated.
There's a warning up now.
Thing.
Yeah,
it's even better. The VRV version listed it as PG.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, they're both Crunchyroll, so they just mislabeled it, and so I could just imagine people like me watching and going, "Oh!"
I knew what I was getting into when I turned the show on.
Yeah.
What's even better is that I'm sorry. Even better though. On Twitter, Crunchyroll put like a screenshot of like the cute girl, like I guess priestess character or sorceress character.
Yes,
I haven't watched
priestess.
the show.
She was a
and
priestess.
It was just a caption of like, I'm going to be a Goblin Slayer, like making it look like a cutie kind of show. And it's like, wow, you're really misleading on what the show is about, Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't worry, because that misrepresentation gets resolved real fast in the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Within about 10 minutes in, you're not going to have any questions anymore.
Crunchyroll really dropped the ball on that one.
That's not the only thing they talked about.
You've got to be careful. I mean, like, Claymore should have had that warning, too.
They like, I mean, Crunchyroll, the actual Crunchyroll website needs a proper TV rating system on their shows,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And obviously, when they do it on VRV, they should make sure they do it correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, rating episode 1
sometimes
as
they don't
PG is not
have-
correct.
Yeah, sometimes they don't have they're stuck with what they're given, because like even something simple like I was mentioning from a few podcasts ago, where they didn't have subtitles for science that
Right.
exist in both Funimation and on Crunchyroll.com, but not on VRV. So
But
it's
at the same time, though, like, Crunchyroll had to watch the show to translate the show.
yes,
Somebody needed to stop and go, whoa,
yeah.
what did we rate this?
So somebody must have just screwed it up.
No children should be watching this show.
Nope.
Maybe we should put like a little warning on like somewhere. You know,
They did now.
Oh
It's
yeah,
there
they
now.
did. They did after the fact.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
yeah,
but
I mean, the thing
point
is,
they should have done it beforehand.
Exactly.
I mean, I get it that the translator, it's not their job to rate the show, but as an adult, sometimes you need to put your hand up and go, hey guys,
Well,
hang on
considering
a
that
minute.
they are a distributor, they should
Well,
be
what I mean
responsible
is
for
they're
that, yeah.
they're not the rating board, the translator. So maybe not everybody's watched the show, but the translators certainly have, and I'm not blaming them. But if one of them didn't put their hand up going, hey, we need to take a better look at what we're doing with this show,
Yeah.
in the sense of we need to let people know that this is brutal and not for children.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's why I never watch simulcasts of shows that I don't know about at work, because I don't know what's about. I have no idea what's about to happen.
Oh,
No,
and let me just assure you, Goblin Slayer is NSFW. Great big capital block letters. Do not
say-
watch that at work.
yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
While
You're going to
we're-
get a call from IT. That's the best I can tell you.
Yeah. So while we're talking about the misadventures of Crunchyroll, want to just run into that last line that you have on the latest news?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this one?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my god. Crunchyroll is
On a roll of late.
yeah, the past year
Yeah.
between I don't know, the hack from November last year releasing
Yeah.
the Danmachi game censored when they said they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll Expo security staff breaking cosplayers' props.
Yep.
And then there's this. High Guardian Spice is a show that they so first off they announced a new studio in both California and Tokyo, although if you only watched the video announcement you had no idea the Tokyo studio actually exists, which is one of the points that I want to get on when talking about this news item. They announced a new original animated series called High Guardian Spice. Now, it makes sense for Crunchyroll to do what Netflix is doing and invest in more original content because it guarantees that they will have the rights to the show for forever. They can do merchandising, that sort of stuff. It makes sense. And there's been a lot of hoopla online talking about this show. Some of it a bit silly. Some of it is not silly. It's genuine criticism. The way that they announced this show, in my personal opinion, was very poor. This is a brand new studio. This is your first title, and the actual video part of the announcement and keep in mind, Crunchyroll is predominantly a video website, so most of your users are going to watch the video portion of the announcement.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it was talking about the studio itself and just how diverse the staff is because the high percentage of female people, but they spend very little time talking about the show itself, and of the portions that they did spend talking of the show itself, they made themselves sound, quite frankly, rather arrogant at times, saying that, oh, we're going to be using hand-drawn 2D animation, something that other studios have forgotten, and then the money line is of we're going to be telling stories that no one's told before, which is hilarious because from the little information that they've given about High Guardian Spice is apparently about 4 girls going to a school about magic, which immediately made me think, wow, they're still bitter about Netflix getting Little Witch Academia.
I can't say I've ever seen that story before today.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
And it's one of those things where it's like, because there's a lot of people, it's the internet. You're gonna have a lot of different type of voices, and yeah, there are some people on the internet who are jerks who are going to solely target the fact that there's women on the show. It's dumb, But like when I see Crunchyroll staff I see a Crunchyroll staff member. I don't want to paint, I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush like this one person did. When I see a Crunchyroll staff member imply on Twitter that the only reason the show is getting hate is because women are working on it, it's like, no, there's legitimate concerns. Like, you claim to be an anime company on your own about page, and yet you're producing a show that is in fact not Japanese in nature. Like, yes, I know you have Ruby, I know you have other like Western cartoons, but you are a Japanese animation company. And you are producing a show that doesn't even look like it came from Japan. It looks like it belongs on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And that's not what people paid for. And so for the people who don't like that, they have a right to say that they don't like the fact that their money is going to that. This isn't like Netflix, who's a general, just a general streaming site where they're allowed to, do what they want because, that's what it is. You're more of a specialty site. And the fact that the video doesn't even acknowledge that some of these people who worked on the show have worked on like more popular shows. Like one of the males who work on the show worked on Animaniacs. It's like why is that buried in the press release? Why is that not in the video? Also, the video doesn't even mention that they're opening up a Tokyo studio. Like, that should have been the first thing you announced. Like, before the California studio. And like, apparently someone who worked on Megalobox is going to be in this new studio. I don't know who. I just know it's a guy from Megalobox. Like, this shouldn't be buried in the text of your press release. It has to be in the video. You spent so much time just looking at who is making the show and not like what the show is. Like, at no point does the trailer actually say the names of the characters at any point. You have to again look that up in the press release to see their names, which is silly. And so it's the average consumer doesn't care who is making a show unless A, they are a celebrity, or B, they worked on a more popular show that they like.
Right.
Tell me why I should care.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just throw names out, unless they're huge names.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that because because I'm secretly sexist, or these people who didn't like the trailer are all sexist against women. It's like, no, it's because you presented it in a bad way. Like, High Guardian Spice might end up being a good show. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Crunchyroll didn't even bother showing a lot. But like, if you're going to announce a new studio, you have to show the show. If you didn't have enough to show the show ahead of time, you should have waited.
Don't do it. Exactly.
Yeah. I honestly think the reason they announced it when they did was so they can have a panel at Crunchyroll Expo, which apparently fans there were not allowed to film. So you can only go by what people posted on Twitter in terms of what was actually said, which is like, again, why are you being so secretive? Why are you not getting the information out?
Because they don't have anything, and that's the point. The bigger thing is that they should have waited. The response to any criticism should not have been to put down whoever it was based on either a sexist remark or whatever. Hello? That's what normal people have to deal with on an everyday basis when judging an opinion. It's sort of like, you're supposed to listen to it. Understand if it's a cheap shot, then that's a cheap shot, but it's not, it should not be a straight defensive mechanism off the bat, like, oh, well, you're sexist or whatever. Last time I checked, there were a lot of women that were really upset with how they wrote that, saying that all of a sudden, because everybody should watch it because it was just women. This somehow, being a woman, I was offended by reading that. So, like, excuse you?
No.
It was elitist, let's just say, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. I have zero interest in watching it, and not because of what the content is or whatever, it's because of how they did it. Because if you're already on your high horse with that, I have no interest in supporting anything that you do. So
it sounds like the people that wrote the press release are just mired in identity politics.
Yeah.
It's like, why does it matter the gender of the people that are working on the show?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
I just think they're defensive because they don't have what they needed at the time, so they had nothing to show, so they're literally stuck with, hey, how good we are, and trying to raise their profile by the only thing that they have, which was, hey, we should be legitimate because we're doing things that no one else is doing, which is bullcrap because everybody's doing that. It is sort of like, let's just say we're working on something, we're really excited, we opened up new studios, look forward to it, we'll have more information later. Boom, done.
Yeah,
That should be the entire thing, because, like you said with Hitchcock, less is more. You know, it's just like, and leave them. Ooh, now I'm really interested in whatever. Just say it's a new thing. We have, both coasts are working on it. We're really excited. We just there we go. That's it. They could have just waited, but instead they started attacking other people that had legitimate questions about. I don't know. We haven't shown anything about this.
It's Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. They
Yes.
take the people with legitimate criticisms and they lump them in with the a-holes who are legitimately being sexist.
Yep.
And paint them all in the same brush. And that is it's a common tactic, especially these days. It feels like of just deflecting criticism. And
yes, it is.
I just
that
want
was
to
perfectly summarized.
And I just want to say, Ghostbusters did not make its money back, so maybe Crunchyroll should, think about their strategy.
Here's a good example. I love Ghostbusters, the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When they said what they were doing with the new one, I said, all right, let's see what they do. I saw about 2/3 of it. It sucked.
Yeah.
It was poorly written.
Yeah.
It's not a reflection on the actors and actresses.
Nope, because there's been plenty
Whoever
of
wrote this
reboots that were
movie
fine.
just churned out garbage, and it wasn't. It had a couple of seconds that were kind of funny,
and the rest was painful.
And it was just like, who the hell's writing this?
Yeah.
Because the original
I'll tell you,
Ghostbusters was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who was writing it. A man.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know, man, because Harold Ramis wrote the first one, and that was some funny crap right there.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't help.
I know.
I know. No, trust me, I get triggered just as much because it's my gender that's somehow. Excuse you? Like, I understand the whole concept of what, years and years of oppression and yada yada yada. But if that is literally the selling point, you have no product.
Also,
it's just as simple as that.
Some
If
of the
it's something
actresses
like
in the
that,
movie, it's like, how did you make them unfunny?
yeah.
They're
Some of them
funny
are
actors.
really
How did you
funny
make them
actors.
unfunny?
You know what it reminds me of in video games when Destiny 1 came out? It's like, how can you make Dinklebot? And then they had Nolan. How can you get Nolan to sound the same way? That's just bad direction.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this in the past too with certain things, especially with anime dubbing.
Yeah.
I've heard this person's work.
Yeah.
They're very talented. This director's crap.
Bryce Papenbrook. We had the conversation about Bryce Papenbrook. I can't stand Kirito. I can't watch it in English because he did a horrible job. And I'm like, wait a minute. He didn't do a horrible job. The director did a horrible job because he's amazing in Durarara.
Exactly. I mean, I remember we sat there. You're like, "That's Bryce Papenbrook."
I'm like, "That's not Bryce
Papenbrook. Hon, it's
Papenbrook."
the
And I'm like-
direction. It's not the actor.
I'm like, that's not Bryce Papenbrook.
I mean, what does a director do? The director draws the performance out of the actor in line with his or her vision.
Whatever's the vision of what that character's supposed to look like. So like, no, I can't listen to it.
Really good directors work with the talent so they can turn in a great product.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to point out I have low standards, but like I had no problem with the dub for Sword Art.
Yeah.
But again, I have low standards, so whatever.
Kirito was very flat.
I just want to again, just low standards. Like it takes a lot for me to say a dub is bad.
Yeah, I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people on the internet have blown it up to be.
Or me.
But, yeah, but I mean, it was a very, very flat portrayal.
Yeah.
You aren't
Everybody
bad.
else was
Watch,
great. I just didn't like him.
Watch the Ikki Tosin dub. That was bad.
Oh, you don't yeah. Yeah. How'd you like that, by the way?
Oh, that show sucks. I own the entire series.
Oh, speaking of which, did you get a chance to watch Tenjo Tenge yet?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, thank you very much.
you're quite
for
welcome.
The packet.
Hey, I thought you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
If I can find the cup that came with it, because that was the
It was a
collector's
collector's
edition.
edition, yeah.
Yeah, for those of you listening who don't know, Arsenette and Don was nice enough to send me their copy of Tango Tenjin. Tenjin.
Thank you.
On the complete collector's edition, and it came in a very nice chipboard box with has some nice inserts, some very nice inserts, in fact, very nice inserts. So I'll be I'll check out that sometime.
It was funny because we were sitting there. It was like that. We've seen the entire series. Like I said, it's like it's used, but we do our best to take care of our stuff, and we always put it away. So, but I'm like looking at it, I'm like, we're never gonna see this again. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know somebody that would actually like this. That's why I said, have you seen it? I said, nope, there you go, it's coming. And this is, of course, you ended up giving me Nana, which is my second favorite series of all time. I marathon that at least once a year, sometimes more than once.
It's a good thing I got that to you when I did, because that show is expensive now.
That's why I had asked you, like, did you pay? And you're like, no. So are you positive?
No.
Because that was
I bought
expensive.
I bought it back when you can still buy it new. It was still in stock.
Yeah.
And then I think like a year or two ago, it was officially out of print and unlicensed. And yeah, that's when the prices just skyrocketed.
Yeah, each of the boxes that you gave me, because there were 4 or 5 sets that you gave me.
4.
And the first set is something like $100 and something all by itself. It's like, oh my god! So the whole thing is gonna go to like freaking $500 just to get the whole thing.
That's similar to
great series, by the way.
The Tenchi Muyo Ryooki.
Yeah, the OVA.
First OVA release. We looked that up a few years back.
Yeah.
I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah, the Pioneer release.
Yeah, the Pioneer. It was like, oh my god, how much?
Yeah. That was a great series, because there's stuff in there that is not in any of the later releases, which is why we still have it. Usually what we do is that if we have an update of something, like if we go from DVD to Blu-ray, I end up gifting it to family members, because I want to share the love. So like I did that with Totoro, and I'm like, oh, my nephew has kids! Let's give them their first anime! So I did that, and so with something like Tenjo Tenge, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, I gotta find an adult.
Well, you could, but there'd be some uncomfortable conversation shortly afterwards.
So.
Oh, I own part of that.
What?
Ryokyo.
Oh, okay.
Ryooki? Yeah.
Yeah, Ryooki. I own part 1 because I got it in the only anime blind bag I ever bought.
Oh, cool.
Really? Which release did you get? Do you know?
Probably at that point the new one that came out.
The single part 1 Funimation release.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the OVA that we have.
That's the newer release.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. The one that we have is one we bought back in the 90s.
Yeah, no, what I mean in terms of episodes, that's what he has. He has what the old box set is. So at least that's what I think it is. So either way, I love the series. It aired originally in
Toonami.
Cartoon, in Toonami years and years and years ago. So
Many years.
Anyway, speaking of distribution,
perfect.
Yes, especially because in our grand tradition, we were supposed to have done this podcast several times in the past 3 months. And even last night, we got within an hour or two of I just got sick and just was not having it. So, mental note, when you're sick, I have very low tolerance of alcohol. So, when I take NyQuil, I am looping for like 24 hours after that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's why you said you were drunk.
Yes.
I was very confused because
literally
I know
drunk.
you don't drink.
No, I was literally drunk. That NyQuil will wipe me out, but I needed to because my face was a faucet, the whole thing. So that worked. It just got me drunk for 24 hours. So anyway, in the interim, what was it? Well, now it's almost 11 o'clock. Actually, it is 11 o'clock. Earlier today, we had this huge announcement, which, to be honest, was expected, and it's actually a little later than I thought, because last year Funimation was bought by Sony Entertainment. So we started the clock going, when is Funimation going to dissolve the partnership with Crunchyroll? Well, apparently that's today. So
October 18th, 2018.
yeah, 17th actually, but oh no, 18th. You're absolutely correct, 18th. So from what I understand, by November 9th, they will be removed from VRV, because VRV is actually sort of like an offshoot of Crunchyroll. They're their own thing, but it's basically
It's a
Crunchyroll.
collaboration.
Right. So VRV had, well, they call it Verb. I hate calling it Verb. But anyway, VRV carries a lot of things. I've been talking about this channel for the longest time. I believe, unfortunately, it is only the United States, because not even Canada has access to this, which is a shame.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it has a lot of channels, and it's great for me because I hate buying a la carte systems. Like I don't have Hulu. I have Netflix, and I have VRV. Period. That's it. There's no reason to watch anything else, because a lot of all other things that I can get, I can just watch in YouTube or whatever on my own. And anything else, I'm just not gonna watch. It's just I'm getting too old for this stuff. So I was a little disappointed going, oh, well, I love the dub for the space battleship Yamato. Basically Star Blazers. And so I'm like, oh man. Now, from what I understand, they're gonna keep a couple titles. I doubt that's gonna be one of them. And they're still gonna go with what they announced that they were going to collab for this season. After that, I don't know, because I'm positive Sony's gonna try to compete with Disney's streaming service. So I would assume that they're just gonna pull all the Funimation stuff and throw it on that, because it is officially a Sony title. So I got an email, because I'm a premium member of VRV, and so the email is, in fact, let me read it, because it's a whole lot funnier when you read how it was written. I thought whoever wrote this was fantastic, and it was nice the way they did it. So that's the only thing that I did not bring up. Okay. There we go. So today we have both good and bad news to deliver. Which would you like first? Okay, the bad. As you know, Funimation has been a popular channel on VRV since we launched 2 years ago. Funimation dub lineup dub lineup has complemented Crunchyroll's vast Japanese language library of anime. Unfortunately, Funimation has decided to go their own way, and their partnership with them will be winding down on November 9th. After that, you will no longer have access to the Funimation channel as part of a VRV premium subscription as an a la carte channel on VRV. So that's gonna suck. In light of this, we've credited you $20 to your account. So anybody that is currently, or has been, I would assume from the email, will get credited $20 basically. That's 2 months, because it's I think it's like $10 a month or something like that. For a premium service. This credit can be used towards 2 free months of VRV Premium and will be automatically applied in the next billing cycles, yada yada yada. So this is the part that I thought was interesting, because we are incredibly proud to announce that our newest partner, Hidive, a dynamic new member of the anime streaming world. Anime favorites like in Hidive like Made in Abyss, Food Wars, Elfen Lied, Bloom Into You, and High School of the Dead will be available on VRV in just a couple weeks. So it is just a couple weeks, with a full catalog of 500 plus titles soon to follow. So should be interesting. So I've been curious about Hidive in general, and like I mentioned before, I don't watch a lot of extra a la carte things. So it was, yay! I finally get Hidive. So I would assume for the next month or so it's going to be kind of touchy when one thing is going to be stripped off and another one, which is why we had the conversation earlier of whenever you have a series that you like, get the freaking physical copy. Just get it, because you never know when it's like there's a I would say probably a small handful of series that I watch over and over in English from the Funimation site on VRV. That's gonna go bye-bye. Luckily, I bought half of them. In fact, I bought MMO Junkie, which I'm very happy. Came in, I think, what was it, Tuesday, Dawn?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and Star Blazers 21.99. I got the first part, and the first 12 episodes, 13 episodes, whatever it was. So the first half, back in, I think, late July. And the second half of the first season is coming in November, back just in a couple of weeks. So that's basically what I'm going to have to be doing with Funimation. For future ones, I usually end up watching the Crunchyroll version anyway, the subtitled. So I don't think that's going to cause that much of an issue. I feel sad because I really did not watch a lot of Funimation stuff when I go, like, does that happen to you? Do you usually watch stuff dubbed?
Oh, you're talking to me.
Any of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I buy a lot of Blu-rays, so yeah, I watch it dubbed usually. But I don't have a VRV account.
Okay.
I don't have a Funimation account.
Okay.
I have Crunchyroll and Hidive, which is a bit ironic at the moment.
Yes, it is.
They're going to be working together. I'm not going to cancel my Hidive subscription because I only pay $4 a month because I got there early.
Well, you pay for Crunchyroll as well.
Yes, I do.
So it might be cheaper doing the other way.
I might be. I have to look and see and see if I care. I've been. It's kind of weird because like with you saw my reaction on Twitter. My initial I'm kind of curious. Like the partnership between Crunchyroll and Funimation. When it first happened, it was obvious to me, at least, that it happened because Funimation was getting their butts kicked in the simulcast scene.
Yeah.
It's there's no debate on it. I liked it better when they fought. I liked it when they fought over Attack on Titan. I liked it when they fought over Free. And I am excited to see them fight again, to be perfectly honest. I want...
everybody's now fighting Netflix, so you're still going to have that issue.
It's weird, because I do and I don't consider Netflix a competitor to Crunchyroll, just in that Netflix's anime selection is mostly older titles, and
not anymore.
mostly, and outside of originals, they only pick up a few like current airing anime, and then they make us wait for like half a year or longer.
Oh, I see. So they're not head to head.
Yeah, they're not head to head. Like Crunchyroll, their appeal is simulcast. Funimation, and outside of Hidive, Crunchyroll didn't really have a lot of competition because Hidive literally started this year, and every other simulcast website doesn't exist anymore. They all stopped. Even Amazon tried doing it, and they screwed it up.
They still have titles, though.
They have titles, but they don't do the simulcast anymore.
Yeah.
Anime Strike did simulcast, and they screwed that up pretty badly.
And what was the one before that?
There was Daisuke. That went under. Daisuke. Viewster exists, but they don't do anything anymore. There's Neon Alley tried, and they failed. And now they're just on Hulu and on Viz's website. So it's just been Hidive. And now that Funimation, yes, technically Hidive and Crunchyroll are now working together, but they're still technically competitors. They've got their own separate websites.
That might change.
I don't know what's going on with that. But now that Funimation has Sony money, Crunchyroll's got AT&T money. You got two big companies fighting against each other. Like, maybe some interesting stuff will happen, because I kind of think Crunchyroll has kind of been resting on its laurels a bit. Like, they've been dragging their feet on getting this HTML5 player out, which should have been out, like, honestly, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's nice that it's out, but it should not have taken this long.
Yeah.
To, like, the point where Flash was almost Flash is getting discontinued in 2020. Like, it should not have taken this long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Crunchyroll's a lot smaller than people give it credit for, and I think it's become very aware. Once Netflix came out and took 40 titles from underneath them, all of a sudden it was like Funimation and Crunchyroll like, oh crap, we're in trouble. Then I think it was one season you had at that point Anime Strike take 10 titles. Netflix took at that point 20, and then so whatever was left is what was there, because that's a lot of arguments was all the really good stuff is no longer on Crunchyroll. So now all of a sudden Hidive comes over, and Hidive took that seat, so now everybody was fighting with each other. I don't know where Funimation's going to be after this, because no one is hell-bent on, hey, I have to see the dub of this.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. If they can get the simuldubs out faster, I think
they're off by what, 4 weeks sometimes? Because I watched Overlord dub that way, and I apparently the only one that was at the exact same time was Star Blazers, but the entire series was out by 4 years at that point.
I know it's impossible to ask, but like if they do every show like they did Space Dandy, where it's the dub and sub coming out. Or
Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan was simultaneous.
Almost. Space Dandy was literally day of.
Yeah.
Like maybe because there's some Sony produces a few anime titles. I imagine Funimation is going to get first dibs on those for obvious reasons. I don't know. Like I'm like I said in my post, if Funimation does it right, that's a huge contingency. They could be a good competitor to Crunchyroll.
I still think in general there's a much bigger problem that's coming up.
Crunchyroll's about to lose a lot of titles.
No, that's not the only thing. Everybody is going to lose a lot of titles because the big behemoth that no one's talked about yet, Disney, is now merged with Fox. So they're pulling how much from Netflix? Three-quarters of their library is going to go bye-bye. And then they're producing their own stuff. There's no way that they're not going to touch it. Then you have Sony trying to set up to fight against that. And in the middle, software in the corner, the bottom right, you have Crunchyroll with little anime titles. I don't think this is not only far from over, this is going to get ugly. Because when all of a sudden, when Disney decides, hey, you know what? Let's just play with this, Japan thing. Because if they decide that they're going to buy out half of it, they have the money, more money than God at this point, to buy whatever the heck they want. So if they decide to dip their toe in, you're not going to have the Amazon strike problem, and you're not going to have Netflix problem, because they'll have their own streaming service up and running, and they can do whatever the heck they want. Similar to the problems that we have with Netflix, they're not going to care about whether or not it's going to be simulcast or not. It's on their terms. So I won't be surprised if this is a defense mechanism from both Crunchyroll and Hidive to try to stay relevant, because the crap is about to hit the fan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, this news is, barely even, isn't even 24 hours old when we're talking about it. So, who knows exactly what's going to happen. But, it is a bit concerning just because of, how many streaming services there are these days in general, not just for anime, just in general.
Yeah. Dom and I had that conversation.
Well, you're getting to the point where cable is starting to become the cheaper option.
Yeah, although cable doesn't have that anymore.
I know, but I'm just saying, as opposed to, if you wanted to watch everything. Yeah. That's a lot of money you would have to spend.
Yeah, and then
to subscribe to everything.
We've made that decision, Don, was it, 10 years now?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, that's 10 years. We decided if it's something, that if it's not readily available, like we have Netflix, which is at this current moment the largest streaming service in the world, then we have VRV, which carries all the anime that I can possibly have. I'm not touching Hulu because we don't watch network television. Like, we just don't. That's not the stuff that we watch. We have YouTube that does everything else, and then that's it. I'm not gonna be buying, we're gonna have to make a decision on whether or not anything that's gonna be on the new Disney system is, oh my god, that's gonna be huge. Whether we're going to do that or not, it just really depends on what content is in there. But everybody's fighting with HBO has its own separate thing now. You have Sony that already said that they're planning to do another one, and so they realize, because not everybody's watching quote unquote television anymore. The landscape has completely changed. Everybody's usually on their phones, tablets, or on the go some way. And a lot of people like us no longer have cable and could care less because cable's expensive for crap that we don't watch anymore. It's just, everything's changed. So it's, unfortunately, they've gone in the opposite direction where they have too many things that are out, and people are like us, they're going to sit there, no, we're just going to pick and choose. Now, there's going to be plenty of people that are going to be, hey, I have this, I have that, until a few months down the line, they start figuring out that they're spending $300, $400, $500 to watch something that they could have maybe, actually, in fact, it would not be available in cable, so that's not even the cheaper option at that point, because even cable now is $100. But it wasn't like in the years when I was a kid where there were only 3-4 channels, and then cable had 3 channels. Woohoo! We have 600 plus, and I don't even know how many streaming services. There's some I've never even heard of, and a lot of them are also different ones that are region locked, because that's its own thing. VRV is only available in the United States. So
doesn't Sony have Crackle?
I believe so. I would assume that all of that's going to go bye-bye and it's going to be one big conglomerate. That would make a lot more financial sense, and considering that they've been bleeding money of late, I would assume that they would just condense everything, which would make sense why the Funimation Crunchyroll relationship is now over. I mean, everybody expected it, so I can actually completely believe when they said it was an amicable split. Everybody saw this a year. It's already been a year since they announced that it was inevitable that was going to happen. So
I wonder. I mean, obviously, I can't look at Funimation's financials, but I do wonder who benefited more, Funimation or Crunchyroll, during those 2 years.
But Funimation, because nobody was watching their service. That was one of the big things. No one was watching their service. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah. I mean, Crunchyroll also got like a lot of Funimation titles on their websites. That's what I was trying to think. Like, you know, I'm just trying to think like that's how maybe Crunchyroll benefited more. But I don't know. I obviously
think at least from my opinion, what I believe was the reason why that went together was a direct result of Netflix. Because Netflix has more money than everybody right now, currently.
Well, yeah.
And they proved that not only can they just pick up licenses, they can create licenses out of thin air. And Crunchyroll could... What did they have? They were celebrating just a few months ago that they had 1 million subscribers? They have 1 million subscribers watching one show in Netflix.
Yeah.
They have, something like 110 million subscribers. I think it's actually probably 150 million subscribers on Netflix just watching stuff. It doesn't matter if it's anime or not, just watching stuff.
Oh man,
Amazon
I would love to just look at Netflix's and Crunchyroll's analytics for who's watching what on anime and like what spot. I love looking at analytics. That's why I like looking at my own YouTube channel so much.
You taught me a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can tell what happened with Amazon.
I just want to see.
You can tell what happened with Amazon.
I just want to see the numbers. I just want to see the numbers.
Well, think of this as you can extrapolate because of what happened year to date.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, guess what? We're no longer in behind the double paywall because no one's watching this.
Oh yeah. God,
Anyway,
so
let's
dumb.
move on a bit. I mentioned this earlier. I love Cells at Work. It was a cute show.
Yay.
Since you said you haven't been watching anything, I know you haven't watched this. It is
Yep.
I have no idea what Osmosis Jones is at all.
Oh, I love Osmosis Jones.
Okay,
And
it
the
is-
TV show Ozzy and Drix.
From what I understand, this is basically anime version of Osmosis Jones.
From what I've seen, sort of.
Okay.
But- okay.
Like I said, I've never seen it. It's the whole thing is you have the Don, what's the word?
Anthropomorphic.
Yeah. Don anthropomorphized? What's the
Yes.
word? Okay, that. Yay! Okay, so human characters for the different parts of the body. All the different blood cells. All the different blood cells and cells inside of the body, which is why it's called Cells at Work. And so it's cute. So it concentrates on two specific characters, the red blood cell and the white blood cell, and it's their journeys through while these things are happening to the world, because as far as they're concerned, it's the world to them. So all of a sudden you get this big bad virus that comes out, and it explains what kind of virus it is. And so from what I understand, doctors love this show because it is perfect. It is exactly what actually happens to the body when certain things happen. And so doctors are sitting there going, this is great. We can now show this to people. This is what happens in the circulatory system. This is what happens when you get a cold. This is how mucus is formed. This is how, your body is fighting. Which cells are fighting when, you have the flu, when, you have a cold, when you scrape your knee, when I think the last episode was really dark. I would assume they were in some sort of car accident or whatever the heck it was. But interspersed with all of that was still at its core an anime series. So you had the sort of like the shipping between the white blood cell and the red blood cell. It was so cute. And the Nendoroids come out next year, and I want one so hard. And they're expensive. Holy crap, Nendoroids are expensive. So yeah, but I want the white blood cell. But yeah, that just finished, and many people, many AniTubers have talked about this. I'm positive people will forget about this show by next season, but this was an amazing series. It's nice and short. There's you can watch episodes. I think there's only 2 episodes that are part 1, part 2, but for the most part, you can pick up any episode individually. I just think it's a very cute show. It's heartwarming. You learn a lot. I never studied anatomy in school, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck is that. And Don's like nodding his head. Yes, I took anatomy when I was in school. And so it's just cute. So the other thing that I had watched, and it started off with extreme, like, aggressive disappointment, was the season 3.
No. Don't tell me that, because I still have to watch the show.
Of Encouragement to Climb. The story is still very much the way it was before, so the problem is, because you've seen Shirobako,
Right.
you can tell that they probably had 5 minutes before they turned in that episode. The first 3 episodes were blobs. Whatever did it was stark. If you saw immediately in front, like the close-up shot of the faces, somebody did that just perfectly fine. The backgrounds were still okay, and some close-ups of like a flower were gorgeous. And then all of a sudden it turned into watercolor, and somebody stepped on it. There was they looked like blobs. It looked like somebody said, "All right, get this out. Episode is out on Friday. We're in storyboards right now. Well, guess what's going to be aired on?" It was painful. I was crying. I'm like, I love this series. I mean, it's bad enough that we don't even have the second season back in Crunchyroll yet, because that's like magically gone. But
Yeah.
I was watching this, and I'm like, if I wasn't so invested in this series, I would have dropped it. It was terrible.
Oh boy.
And then so it started to pick up towards the end, like some magic happened. They probably hired one other person in the basement somewhere, and then it was at least tolerable to watch at the end. It is still a cute story. It very much it definitely feels like a half a season. It feels like it's a part one. And it said at the end, "See you again." So I'm hoping there's a season 4 so it can finish off. Like you get to like half of the year, like they haven't gone back to like the whole thing is, you know, Aoi wants to go back to Mount Fuji, basically avenge her loss from the last time, and then see she doesn't get there because that's not, it only goes to like the winter. So
Right.
it's just from summer to winter, and then that's it. That's all of season 3. And so it was cute, and there were a lot of things that were interesting and whatever, but it was I could not believe that I spent the entire time going, you needed another week. You needed just, if you had another week. And as I don't remember who the production company is, but this had to have been,
it's 8-bit, right?
I don't remember let's just say I said if they were making 4 anime, this was the 5th on their list. You know what I mean? It was like, that's
Jeez.
that's why I said I was aggressively disappointed. Just watch the first episode and see if I'm wrong with that. I wanted to go back to the last episode of season 2 just to compare, and I couldn't do that. So I even went all the way back to season 1 again, watched all of season 1 and going, this wasn't this bad! Story-wise was great. The voice acting perfect, that everything was fine. It was just visually, it's like they ran out of time and they just shoved it out the door. First 3 episodes were the most painful things. I'm like, is this the entire season? Oh my god, please don't let this be the entire season. Episode 4, okay, they got one more person working on this. It's still not, and even towards the end it was like, oh god, almost there. It was, oh my god, it was so painful. I cried. I'm like, oh my god, no.
It kind of sounds like the show got its budget cut after season 2.
There's no way that it's not. I felt terrible because they did a good story, and it's still the same show, so it's not like all of a sudden they just changed thematically or anything. If anything, the only difference thematically would be that they were a little bit more on the melodramatic. Like there was some it was all character based. So it was a different dynamic between Aoi and the tomboy. Forget what her name
Hinata.
is. Yeah, Hinata. So they had, thank you. So they had like this ongoing story of, you know, they hinted to that at the end of the second season, where they're like, are we gonna still be friends or whatever, or like slight misunderstandings that went on for like 2-3 episodes. This went through the entire season, and it was fine, and it was resolved at the end. It was like it normally does, but it was, if anything, it was more character development on their characters, which was fantastic. You barely saw any of the other any of the other people, the other girls, but that was fine because they are the core of the show. So they put more time on there, but it's just visually, I'm like, my eye was like twitching, like, and then it just, oh my god, it was so painful. So yeah, so please look forward to it, and I pray when they do season 4, which is heavily implied by the end of it, that they have at least another extra week to work on this, or at least a little bit more money, or a combination of them both.
Well, that's disappointing here, because you know how much I love encouragement to climb.
Yeah.
I've just been really
I understand.
This past season in general. You know the details.
Yep.
So yeah, I was going to eventually watch it, and and you know what? I really just want someone to license the show for home release, especially
That would be
Crunchyroll,
fantastic.
because Crunchyroll keeps losing the rights to the show.
Yeah, that was painful with season 2. I didn't watch it
yeah.
until it was finally back.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Well, it happened with season... I mean, it's like, oh, we have season 1. Here's season 2. Oh, by the way, we lost the rights to season 1. Oh, by the way, season 2...
They lost the rights of it after the first episode.
Yeah, that's
Oh
us.
my God.
All right, now we finished it. We lost the rights to season 2. We got season 1 back, though. It's like, well, how hard is it to keep the rights of this one particular show? Why is it only this show you're having this trouble?
I know, and it's such a cute show. But anyway,
Why has no one licensed it? God
Yeah.
damn it.
Oh.
Discotheque.
Oh,
Discotheque, please save me.
yes, please. And in fact, just keep writing to them and say, you know what? Do me a favor. I'll put in a little bit extra money in your little Kickstarter so you can reanimate this 3rd season. Or actually finish the animation because it's still in a rough cut.
I promise I'll pre-order the DVD. Just, God, just give it to me.
God. But anyway, one last thing on Cells at Work. It's from the same people that did JoJo.
Oh, that's funny.
And it shows, and it was amazing. In fact, there's like one specific character that just went straight up JoJo. I was laughing hard. I'm like, oh my God, they went there. So, who's the company that does JoJo?
Dude.
David Production? I think it's David Production. So
JoJo. I don't know.
yeah, it's fine. So anyway, and the last thing is I bought Shirobako.
Hey.
I think I mentioned that I was going to, and I lost track because the last thing that we did was in December. No, so, in June.
It was June.
Yeah, so I bought both of them. It's okay. They have the big blocky yellow subtitles, and the subtitles are a little bit different than Crunchyroll's. So it's neither here or there, but I have a physical copy of it, and I'm happy, and that's all I'm worried about. It is not dubbed. It is not dubbed. That's fine. Nope, it is not dubbed.
I thought they did for some reason.
Nope.
That's just
so it's just straight up. It's also not that expensive. So
yeah.
So I'm not particularly worried about it. The ones that I did, the other ones that I had bought are dubbed. ReZero, Star Blazers, MMO Junkie, all of them have both tracks. In fact, MMO Junkie, the English is 5.1 and the Japanese is 2.0. So like interesting. So, but yeah, I've been watching it and it looks fine. So, I've only gone through like the first couple of episodes, but it's fine. I still haven't opened up ReZero. So, but yeah. Either way, that's a separate thing we already talked about. So anyway, let me just flip through. We're doing the last episodes of Osomatsu and Shirobako. And I would assume Don's asleep.
Nope.
No, you're still here? Okay. Although, okay, so we're going to blow through all of these. I was pleasantly surprised. We cackled in the last 4 episodes. There were a couple of them and I just but we really enjoyed the last 4 episodes of Osomatsu, and not because it was the end.
Right.
The Mahjong episode was amazing. I've played Mahjong, not those rules, but I understood what was happening. And I was laughing because I'm like, I love this type of sketch comedy where there's an actual story and they're taking parts of it, and that was what we basically narrowed down. When there's an actual narrative, a full story that they're following, I'm fine with it. It's the little bits here and there when they do little tiny things. Most of the time it's on the American Pie side, and that is not the type of humor that I like. So that's basically, I'm not into that. So, but if you're into that, which is what majority of people are, because I know I'm very much in the minority with the show, I hated it. I'm like, did you really need to go there? Like, there are parts where, like, I love the story. Let me go. So Mahjong, that was one of my favorites. Didn't like the Godmatsu. 20.
That one was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't the strongest.
Going to the mixer one, I started off fine with that, and then after that, it's like, that one was a little too long.
No, what about when they were, I don't know, when they were interviewing of who should be the third?
That's what I thought was fine. That was
Yeah,
fine. It's like at
stuff.
the end, it's like, see, I love that kind of dynamic. Again, they're doing other things rather than wallowing on how miserable they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Don actually liked the final sheesh.
Yeah, that was good.
Don, you would like to talk about final sheesh?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the funnier episodes. Seeing Iyami. Essentially, he's pulled to. It's not. I mean, is it China? I don't really remember.
It's China.
Yeah,
kind of
implied.
reminded me of Ranma a little bit.
Nondescript Asian country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
So he gets pulled to China because this traveling martial artist sees his body posture and says, "Oh, you're that body posture. You've been trained in the she fist." And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He's like, "Come and save my village." "No, I don't care about your people." No, really, I don't care.
Then he gets abducted.
So he gets abducted, and they begin his training.
Yeah.
His whole thing is he's got to fight in a martial arts tournament to save the village of this martial arts master, who, of course, his martial arts master's young daughter comes in, who's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So Yami says, "Okay, fine, I'll win this competition. I'll take that cutie home with me."
Yeah.
So he gets in the competition and just promptly gets his butt kicked.
Yeah.
Horribly.
So at least what are the brother's last name again? Matsuno.
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 Right.
So the Matsuno
brothers stand up and they try to surprise him.
Yeah.
Because they said, you've got to do your she from your heart. You can't just do the motion.
Yeah.
Because, his face is all bashed in. And what
they
first
did
thing
was...
they did? It's like, "Hey, Iyami, what's this?" He goes, "Oh, that's me bank book." And he tears it up. He's like, "Sheesh!"
And then
he
actually
knocks the other guy across the arena.
The final one was hilarious. It's like, "Oh, by the way, she's married." And has kids.
Yeah, the last one, he shows a picture of the daughter with the kids, yeah.
No, she was actually physically there. The kids, her husband's next to her, and she gives him a kiss, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, the final shade, he blows the world up.
That was amazing. There was this slow motion enveloping mushroom cloud, and then everything just disappears. The inside the Dayon thing was creepy.
Dayon, when we talked about this before, he is a product of the 60s in the original series, and they keep him because he's history. Yeah. And so they do things with him, and he's there, and Dayon's never been my favorite character, but I understand why he's there.
Okay. Then let me see.
What about the kerosene sketch? Where they're fighting
great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's very simple. I don't want to be the one.
Oh, I did miss that. I'm sorry about that. I caught that in between. Yes.
Yeah.
Where they're like, the person that gets up, "Damn it! No! You're going to have to do it." "Oh, but that's a shame." It's like, "Nope!" And then that person says, there's various ways of not being the one appointed to do it. That was funny. I like those types of things.
Right.
24. Okay, you already know I can't stand her.
I know.
However, this was hilarious because she's showing how shallow she is and how small she is in the world. Yeah. And then so here she is just like, "Oh no, I just want to marry an oil magnate." And she's like, "Oh, so are you an oil person?" And it's like, "No." And then she just getting rid of it. She goes to a mixer to try to find people, and then she just keeps rejecting all of them, and it's just yeah. Although she did get her comeuppance at the end, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So what about the second half of episode 24?
That was the Letter.
That was the letter, the super serious sketch.
Yes, and I wish he did move out.
Here's the thing.
What's up with that at the end?
So I was about to say, were you fooled?
Yeah, no, I was like, I should know better than that, but I'm like, this is episode 24 though? No, they have another season of this. There's no way.
There's another episode, yeah.
I know, I'm like, there's no way. And I'm like, oh, I was so bitterly disappointed. Although that was very well done, how it was funny because each of them were finally, well, I'm just gonna have to move out, and I can't deliver this letter yet, and then the other person, well, I'm gonna get a job and whatever, and then at the end they're like, screw it, it's just a whole lot better to live at home. Like, really you couldn't even hold a job? Well, like, come on.
Well, that was episode 25. That was the.
Yeah, but it was a continuation of what this was. It was just like,
it was a gag. It's they were trolling.
Yes,
the show was trolling you.
I know, but it's like, come on.
I knew something was up.
Yes.
I when I was watching this week to week, I'm like, there's no way. Like, here's the thing. I was genuinely touched by the episode.
Yes,
but I didn't believe for a second that this is how the show is ending.
But I wish it was like that, because it's just like, that's such a bad example. Stop leeching off your parents. Grow up and get the heck out.
Well, I think the show at the very least shows that, like, they're not good people for what they do, you know?
No, they're not good people, period.
Yeah. But they're not. I don't think at any point the show really says, like, you should aspire to be these people. Like, you know, they're referred to as losers many times.
Yes. Well, even Totoko. Totoko is like the epitome of arrogance.
Yeah.
And self-entitlement and whatever.
I'll say this about the last episode. It ended the way I thought it was going to end.
Yes, with the baseball?
Well, no, not the baseball. Just like the very
when they ended up just quitting, and it's like, oh yeah, no, never mind.
With
like,
everyone,
you quit your job.
Everyone, well, no, it's just everyone dies at the end of the show. That's how. I think at the midpoint of the season, I said the only logical conclusion for the show is everyone dies. And I was right.
The baseball one was interesting in the sense that I guess it's almost like a cautionary tale of, like, you should really research what it is that you're entering. No, but I just want to be the best and blah blah blah. It ended up being this intergalactic fight that they had no right. You know what I mean? They were gonna lose anyway. It was just that one went a little too long, but I've seen freaking Bugs Bunny cartoons that were like this. I've seen other shows that were like this. So if anything, it fit. It's some but in general, I like the last 4 episodes. However, I was happy that the series was over. And I committed to it. I saw every single episode, and I'm not gonna be watching season 2. Not my cup of tea.
Okay. I'll say this. I'm glad you watched it. Yeah. You don't have to report on the podcast or anything like that. But what I will recommend is that if you feel like it, watch the first episode of season 2, and that's it.
Okay.
Because you talked about how much you liked the first episode of season 1.
Yeah. Oh, so there's another one of those.
It is of a similar legally
in a legally binding way.
Very real and legally binding way.
It is. Yeah,
what they can get away with.
Yes, it is of a similar vein as the first episode of season 1, but they didn't get in trouble with legalities.
Man, that's a shame, and that was amazing first episode. Yeah. And if anything, I give them a lot of credit because they knew that they were going to get in trouble, but they did it anyway.
Well, I mean, the director worked on Gintama, and he's gotten in trouble in the past for this same sort of stuff.
Oh, he
He does not give a you-know-what.
Exactly. So if anything, it's very much the stick in the eye or whatever the heck the phrase is. Like, I really don't care. And
He rather ask for forgiveness than permission.
yeah. Or actually, I don't even think he asked for. It's like, okay, fine, we won't air it anymore.
Well, you know what I mean. It's that old saying.
Well, I won't be surprised that part of that demeanor and how they did the first season is the reason why there is a second season, and why when we were in Japan, Osomatsu was literally everywhere. Oh my god, it was everywhere. I could not believe how big this series was. Like,
They couldn't. I don't think they could believe how big it got.
it's weird because it was the demographic was wide in this. Everything from the people that saw it when they were kids in the 60s to brand new younger people that didn't grow up with the series at all that loved it as well. It's a uniquely Japanese show. And
Yes.
there's a lot of things that we will probably never get because we're not in that culture. And so
Yeah.
I'm sure that they referred to things that we get a general thing that this is funny and whatever that could have been, oh my goodness, they went into this. So,
Yeah.
but either way, it's basically American Pie, and I don't like American Pie. It's just as simple as that. But I can understand why you like this series so much, and there were parts just like the episodes that you had mentioned that you liked. I liked as well. It's a style. I have to be very in the mood for it, so I had issues with it. But yes,
Okay.
so watch Osomatsu-san.
Yep.
And
One last comment on Mr. Osomatsu,
Sure.
just from a news perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Viz did announce the dubcast for the Six Brothers.
oh,
And so they're working on it. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle some of the jokes
there's
in
a lot of things that are conceptual to Japan.
yeah, Japanese. Yeah, so
Like,
I'm
I would have
curious-
never asked for Shirobako to be translated.
I would have, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I want everything dubbed, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do. Very interesting choices for the brothers. I privately made a list of who I thought they were going to pick, and I got none of them right.
Yeah. So Viz is the one that picked it up?
Yeah. Viz, they announced it last year.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Viz sometimes
Yep.
can be a bit slow with their releases. So we'll see what happens. All I know is that Saitama is Totomatsu, so that's
That should be very interesting.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
So, last things last. Do you now understand why I said that I wanted you to watch episodes? The last two I wanted you to watch the series just for the last two episodes.
What? I mean, what happened? The last episode, I did nothing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just messing with you. Okay,
Yeah, so start with episode
21. Let's talk about 20. Okay, we're gonna kind of go. Let's kind of go through 21 and 22 kind of quickly because,
yeah.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not saying they were bad episodes, but they were like
Fill-ins.
middle of the road. They were B. They were solid. They were like solid Bs,
Yep.
but like nothing outstanding. You know, it was just a lot of like, here's stuff that happens when in anime production. Like for 21, it's like, oh, they go to a roller coaster, and you know, so they can know the movements of being on the plane. And there was this whole big debate with one of the where is my list of characters?
Hiroka?
Yeah, the oh, he's not even on this list, of course. Screw me. About quality and how he's not keeping in track with the people that he's working with and all that. So there's a lot of just arguing, and eventually he starts to get better and he takes his job more seriously, and that's sort of that. It's all right. You know, I mean, it gets a lot. It moves the plot along, gets a lot of things done, but I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it.
That's fine.
22. 22. There is It's a lot more just about with the actual production. What is it? Sugawa is asked to be an animation supervisor, director. I forget.
Yeah,
what it
Emma.
was.
Emma was asked.
Emma.
Because they needed help with the last episodes.
Emma. Yeah, basically, taking on a much bigger responsibility and all that. Hiroka and Taro ends up going to the bar together, and they get drunk.
So you finally get to figure out why he's such a butthead.
Yeah, they're very interesting, backstories and all that. And I guess for me, the part that I liked the most was the part with Shizuka,
the voice actress,
watching the voice actress,
just like,
watching
switch,
TV.
Let's switch. I'll take your place.
Basically getting drunk, looking at these idol voice actors on TV, getting all this praise, and it's like doing the whole why them not me sort of thing. Felt really bad.
Yeah.
And then at the everything they finish the voice acting, and they're like, oh, all right, job well done, everything's going great. And if history has shown when it comes to this show, whenever anyone says, hey, it's all going great, a cell phone rings.
Yep.
And it turns out it's not.
You like the
great.
weather change?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've always liked that.
Yeah. You like his character, right? The producer.
Yeah.
That poor guy. I swear.
Poor man. So it turns out the last episode got rejected.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Specifically by the mangaka. So that's
so the mangaka has finally figured out what the heck is going on and just put the brakes on everything.
Well, he sort of figured out what's going on, as we'll discuss in a second. And then episode 23 happened.
My favorite episode.
This episode was fantastic.
Yay! This single episode is the entire reason I wanted you to watch the whole freaking series.
I laughed. I
cried.
I felt
bawled.
so many emotions. I got up. There was okay. I'm gonna go through. I don't want to
start from the beginning.
So here's the deal. Director and producer, they go to the manga studio.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean you didn't tell us? And that annoying prick of
an
assistant is like, funny story.
It's
like, oh my, the entire time I'm just like, oh my god, I why are you not getting punched in the face?
Yes.
Little did I know. And I'm just like, this prick.
He had the audacity to complain. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I've been viewed negatively.
Correct me, help me for a second. What's the name of the producer? Because I know the director is Seiichi. There's a lot of characters.
Katsuragi.
I have a hard time. Katsuragi. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both there, and they're like, we need to talk to No Game specifically. Mm-hmm. Which I gotta be honest. Up until this episode, I didn't realize that was the mangaka's name.
Yeah, Nogame.
I thought he just kept saying to the studio, "No game," like as in like no good.
Oh, yeah, Nogame. Yeah, Takese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nogame. Yeah. Well, because I mean, I'm just reading the reading the text, and it's like, I thought that was just his thing.
Yeah, it is funny though that actually did fit within the context of what you were reading. So that is.
Oh yeah.
Well, because that's basically what they were saying. Yeah, whatever. Just do. It's fine. I gotta talk to him. Nope, can't talk to him. Can't talk to God.
Basically. That's the whole thing. It's actually, a whole lot of conversation. And then they were talking about, why is he so hesitant for an anime to do anything different with the story? And then it turns out, Hiroka used to work at the studio that did the first anime adaptation of one of his works, and it's like, it was effing horrible.
Yeah.
They put the girl in a bikini, and for some reason the cars can fly, and it's a total disaster.
Yeah.
And it's like, And my first thought was, wow, I totally see this happening in real life.
Yes. Usually you see it in real time. Oh, that was a terrible adaptation. Who the heck did this? I don't know. Some company.
And then so like, but they're like, oh, if only we could talk to No Game directly. They find his email address on this random like form, paper, whatever it is. They email him directly, and they're like, all right, we're in. They successfully went over everyone's head, and now the director in the Seiichi in the greatest redemption arc of this entire series.
Thank you.
Wearing a cowboy hat and spurs. If he needed some chaps, but whatever, I'll take what I can get.
That was what the president gave him. Did you notice that?
He went in there with a mission from a higher power.
Yep.
And he kicked butt.
That
This was like
amazing.
he became a man
Yes.
at that point. First off, using his incredible fatness, he was able to defeat the annoying manga assistant.
Yep.
And it's like, and that entire time, I'm like, yes!
Exactly.
Yes!
The music
Beat
was
him.
like, woo!
Yes.
It was
Oh
like
my
this
god,
Western.
it was so good. It was so good. He was like, yo, I got a pass. I can get through. You can't stop me. Then one of the other higher guys, he's literally like hitting golf balls at him. He's like, no, because I'm so fat, I can reflect your balls very easily. Your balls got no effect on me. He got in there, him and No Game, and what proceeded was a very real conversation about like the difference between manga, anime, and like how things should end, interpretations of stories, and how people see how some people see how a work is being written is not necessarily the same as the writer's intent. It was really good, and they worked together. They came up with a new idea for a new storyboard idea, and it was really good. And then at the end, the director,
the sun rises.
Seiichi, well, not even that, but Seiichi was like, oh, it was so weird because your assistant kept saying you were so busy, even though you claimed that you wish that we talked to you sooner. And they were like, what? Yeah. What do you mean? And all of a sudden, like, the assistant's like, oh, hey, funny story. And basically, he got his butt fired. And I'm just like,
I love how he screamed. It was like, it's not funny!
Yes.
And his voice just catapults him backwards.
Toss him out. Get rid of him.
That was amazing.
That piece of trash got what he deserved. It was great. Yeah. So then they're back to the studio, and then they're like, hey, so we got this like new little sister character. Who are we going to get to voice?
Literally at the last moment, they needed somebody like that.
So here's the thing. I want to recreate. Hold on. I'm gonna turn on the camera so you can see this.
Okay.
I realize no one who's listening to this podcast is gonna see it. I'm watching this in my chair like this, and literally the director's like, "Who are we gonna get to voice this?" And I'm like,
"Yeah,
I know exactly where this is going."
I was going, yes! I remember I saw this series while I was watching this fan service, and they were watching it like 3 or 4 episodes, the same thing that we are, a week, and they kept saying, it's like, it's really sad, whatever, and I don't want someone else to be fired as a result and have, best girl get the seed. But the way they did it was perfect because it was her own character. So when they're sitting there like, oh, wait a minute, because he really liked her, she just didn't fit that part. So then all of a sudden, exactly what they were waiting for, there she is. And it was like, yes! So she's like walking, and you see the, once they took a shot of the outside of the, like the bar that she works in. I
didn't even need that. I just didn't even need that.
As soon as he went, like, someone like Catherine, but younger. And then thank you! You got her!
Oh my god. I have never been more excited at a casting choice.
Yes.
And it was doing for a show that was real.
My favorite part is how Aoi realizes what happened.
Oh yeah. Let me talk. So Oi is in the voice actor studio. Everyone, the director and all that, they're all there. And Oi comes Shizuya comes in, and all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, she's here. She's doing the line. It's great. It's Oi is literally crying at the fact that her friend finally has success. I'm freaking crying.
Yeah.
Because, I just want to point out, I'm having a really hard time not cursing right now. 'Cause I'm so excited talking about this episode. And I realize I may have accidentally done it already, and I apologize for that. But, holy crap.
Yeah.
This episode was
amazing.
This was fantastic.
This was like redemption arc the episode.
This was
two people got
actually
three
series.
people. The two got redemption and the other one got his just desserts. And what I love about it, not just that she had the part, is that everything that she has experienced from episode 1 all the way to that episode has taught her, you go in confident, you know your line, you do the professional job. That's it. She didn't want any gimmies. Like even from the previous episode where you had that the guys at the bar and they're saying, they're like, oh, when Aoi failed getting into Born, the company. Oh, I don't remember that. And then at the end, it's like, oh, the server? And she goes, yeah, she was supposed to say voice actors, was a Seiyu. She's a Sei. And then she goes like, no, don't tell him anything. Like, I don't want a gimme on anything. And then finally, this just dropped right in front of her. I love the part when they're in the studio. You get the first girl that comes in that plays the main character. And it's like, okay. Oh, yeah. So is the little sister in yet? And then Lucy. Is Lucy here yet? Because Lucy's the name of the character that they added, the little sister character. Of the character that died. In fact, I had no idea that they were going to kill off one of the main characters. I'm like, oh, that's a thing. So, main character's dead. One of the main characters is dead, and little sister comes in. So they're like, okay, is Lucy here? Aoi is about to sit down, and then all of a sudden she hears Shizuka's voice. And it's like, she looks up. Her butt is not even on the seat. She's like in shock. Like her jaw is now on the ground. She's in place. Like, I'm not seeing this. This is not happening. And then so it's like, oh, Shizuka, have, do you remember the line? Yes, it's this line. Okay, I want you to do this a little younger. Keep the confidence that you have, just a little younger. She's a little girl. It's like, okay. And they go on and whatever. And then so always like looking around like, do you understand who this person is? I'm crying like crazy. Like, oh my God. So I was exactly her, like, wait a minute, oh God, don't screw this up. Oh, please, God, don't screw this up. And she goes in, nails it, turned around, and I was like, I was gone. I was like, this was great. And so, at the end, even still professional, she just not, like, no one in the room knew that they were best friends. No one. Even at the end of it, they had no idea they were best friends. So I thought that was amazing. So even the next episode, which was the last one, was the second best episode of, at least for me. I don't know, how did you like the finale of this?
It was a good finale. It's interesting. I've been before I watched the last 2 episodes, I've been kind of trying to think to myself like which arc I prefer of the 2. And I think before watching the 2 episodes, I would have said the first half. But now it's a really harder pick of the 2. Because the ending of the first half was really good.
Yes.
I really like the first half ending. And this one, it's weird because I don't think the second half ending is as strong as the first half ending in terms of what the final episode actually is.
Right.
But that second to last episode that we just talked about is the best episode of the entire series.
Everything is cumulative at this point. So
by
itself,
episode
24 is not as strong, but it relies on everything in between.
What I would say is that it feels almost epilogic.
Yes. It's meant to, because they had the ending song 3/4 of the way through.
So they show the character, they show the scene again, and basically it's like, okay, Shizuya able to find more work. That's good. She's going up in the world. They finish up on the work, and it's like, hey, have a higher poly count for this jet and stuff, and we got like 10,000 cuts to go through or whatever.
There is one thing before that which was in between. There was just one tiny thing. Do you remember when it was basically first episode? They didn't even have an opening song. It's like, okay, all hands on deck and whatever. She gives her inspirational speech. Everybody's there. Did you notice that when you had the president, he always has these stupid lines and everybody goes like, what? And yay. And in this one, it's like, ready, scramble. And everybody goes, oh, like the whole room. I thought it was so cute because each season, every single time they had these inspirational business meetings, like the morning pep talk, he's always with this, lock on. And everybody's like, okay. And then this one, like, everybody was like, let's do this. I thought that was amazing. It's just the little things here and there, like when they keep adding a little bit each episode, the one person has more. Now there's 2 people, now there's 3 people, now there's like 20 people in the room going, we've got this. So I like that.
So they finished the episode, which is good. But the thing is, one of the things that they're talking about is, hey, we got to get this to the studios, like,
today.
Now. Like, really quickly. So, all of a sudden, this turns into The Amazing Race.
Yes!
And I don't know if you've ever actually seen The Amazing Race.
I've seen parts of... I understand exactly what The Amazing Race is.
There's a lot of Amazing Race in this sequence. So, everyone...
With initial D
like,
as well. You cannot forget there was one initial D in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Yuka... She's in charge of driving a car. Yeah. And all of a sudden she's driving. I hear deja vu. I've been just in this place before. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
She's literally running from the police.
Yep.
And as we learn later, she has a history of doing this.
She's the lady of speed of sound.
Yeah. Which is weird because they said that she was only 7 kilomiles per hour.
Yes, which is like 4 miles an hour. In other words, I'm not arresting you because I realize who you are. And I know what you're doing. Had it not been that she'd had history with this guy, she would have been arrested for speeding.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind
of
weird.
It was a cute thing though. It's sort of like, okay, name and license. Oh yeah, I forget what her first name is.
Yuka.
Chisuo Yuka, whatever. Animation department. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah. You were 7 kilometers or whatever, and it's like, oh, I see you were promoted to director, to inspector. Congratulations! It's like, oh, okay. Everybody, there's guns out and everything. But he's like, once he figured out, oh my god, I haven't seen you in 8 years. I'm curious if the train that she passed by, if she was that character or she was responsible for that character to be on the train. I would assume she just smashed. That was the only time you've ever seen her smile. She just looked at it, and then she just saw the train and the little character, and then she just smiled. Like, in other words, she's back home. This is where she came from, so it was like, yeah, I know I'm going. I love that entire scene.
So you got the producer who's taking the plane.
Yes.
And again, amazing race vibes there.
Yeah.
He falls flat on his face at one point. We got people taking trains. They focus more on Oi, who it starts snowing by her, and they're like, oh, we gotta, the train has to go slower now. And I'm like, wow, this is exactly like the Amazing Race at this point. And then even more so with her characters is like she's taking the taxi, and all of a sudden they're stuck in traffic. I'm like, I literally watched an episode that ends like this.
I saw the only episodes that I have seen was with the people from Rooster Teeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the episode I'm referencing.
Yeah. Is it, do we stay in here or do we get out and run?
Yeah. Well, in this case, Oi decides, hey, let's get out. I have to get out and run. She runs. She is running. She gets there in time. Everything's good. Everyone gets there in time.
Yeah.
Show airs without a hitch. There's a big party at the end. Oi shows up a little late because she had a far distance to travel.
Yeah.
And probably because the train was a little slow because of the snow and all that jazz. And she gave a big speech talking about how, like, there's a lot of people who work in anime and they're all great and all that.
Yeah.
Basically kind of like just a big old celebration of the anime medium in this anime about making anime.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was emotional.
Yeah.
It got me a little teary-eyed.
Yeah.
And this show is great. They did the credit sequence during the party. And at the very end, they tease a new season that has not happened.
Now, what I liked about the ending was they decided...
They got two-piece.
Well, they decided... it was a two-piece, and I don't know what the second one is.
Some original series.
Right. So a couple of things. One was, they decided that their school project that they alluded to in the beginning that was terrible, that they're going to redo everything.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is good because it shows that each of them had grown in their respective pieces, that they're going to redraw everything, they're going to do brand new CG, they're going to write better lines, they're going to act better. And I thought that was a good thing given all 24 episodes, that they've grown from the first episode to the last. Now, the thing that's coming up next is the movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so and I thought it was really cool. You see Aoi standing there all fierce, like, we got this. So, and the only thing that I can think of is that they're doing a movie, or they're doing a two-piece movie, or they're doing whatever, that Revolutionary Girl or whatever. I don't think it's Revolutionary Girl. It was like marginalized, whatever the heck. You can tell usually by the names what it is that they're going to be doing. So I don't know if I've seen the series that they were talking about. I would assume it's an ongoing one if they ended up that they picked it up. But I still love it as like two-piece. Oh, the one about the pirates? Yeah, that's pretty famous. Oh my god. Marginal village depopulation girl. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. I wouldn't know what that reference is. Yeah, but either way, I'm curious because they haven't said what they're going to be doing in the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, at the end, the five girls get together, celebrate the fact they actually made an anime together, technically.
Yeah.
And they talked about their future, in which their donuts turned into Sailor Moon transformation stripes in the air, and a big pirate ship appears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's their story. So yeah. So
this was great.
You loved it. Okay.
This was a great show. This is a great show. I'm glad that you finally got me to watch it. I feel bad because, like, I have nothing left to suggest to you for future stuff, unfortunately.
That's fine. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure
something
out.
Yeah. We can probably do movies. Movies are usually easier because they're shorter.
We'll figure
it out in between, and I'll let you guys know. But
thank you for suggesting this to me. It was thoroughly enjoyable throughout the entire way.
Yay!
And who knows? Maybe you won't be the only one to own the series on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's a very simple Blu-ray. It's literally just play. And do you want subtitles and not subtitles? Well, it's only in Japanese. So yeah, it's a bare bones. Yeah, it's a bare bones copy. But I'm happy that I have it. Sure, actually, by comparison, it won't be difficult to dub it, but they've decided not to. What would be amazing is that if the movie does well and they re-release it, I'll just buy a box set of it. But I have it now, so even if that's the only thing, at least that's better than some other series that I've seen that I like that will probably never have physical copies of, which is annoying. So, either way. But yeah, I'm happy you loved it. So, yay! Now you understand what I'm talking about. In order to get the gravity of episode 23, you had to sit through the first 22 episodes. Because otherwise it wouldn't have made any sense.
Well, I mean, the good news is that, like, the first 23 episodes were, the first 22 episodes were like good overall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that helps.
Yeah.
Very, very good. In fact, very, very good. This was overall an excellent series. Like, I don't know if you remember this, but Shirobako actually won for Anime of the Year.
It's gotten a lot of awards.
Yeah, in Japan, it won for Anime of the Year.
I wish more people would watch it in general. Do you have any, whether it's series or music or movie or whatever, that if you're feeling down or like I've gotten a lot of like writer's block or that sort of thing, I sit and watch episode 23 and 24. Like literally, just it's still on. I have the physical copy, but I still have it on VRV, and I just turn it on. It gives me so much motivation. Like, you're gonna have downtimes, you're gonna have uptimes and whatever, and when I need that bit of inspiration, because this could be for anything, not just anime, and I thought it was very well done, and so, yeah, I love this series so much. It's difficult to explain to somebody, hey, this is an anime about making anime. I think it's a little bit more than that. But it's difficult to quantify. It's one of those, you have to watch it.
I guess the way I would pitch it is that it is a comical yet educational series that explores the process of making anime.
Yeah.
And it is quite well written.
Yeah. Very, very well written. So,
yes.
Yay! I'm so happy. So yeah, before Dawn falls asleep, it's now 12:23 in the morning. Because as usual, we talk a lot. So, but thank you everyone for listening. And so if you guys want to ask us any questions or have any suggestions for future shows, feel free to leave them in the comments on YouTube. If you need to contact any of us, I can be contacted in social media, on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at Arsenette, Arsenette, and on Instagram at Rambling Regan, and my website ramblingregan.com. Don, if you're still awake, how you doing?
You can find me on Twitter at Domnal, Domnhal.
Cool. And William.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at 2D2Will. Check me out, youtube.com/222productions. That's the number 2 3 times, followed by the word productions. Check out my various, mostly Ninja Warrior based stuff, including my brand new series, Obstacle Lab, where I do stuff in the backyard with obstacles, and I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, but I do it anyway.
Cool. So until next time, thanks for listening and have a wonderful day.